Hey, it's Liv. Welcome back to my channel Endless Pages. And today's video is going to be just a list of 15 books that I would love to purchase, but I'm not going to for a while because I'm trying to slow down my book buying because it's getting a little bit much and a little bit silly, to be honest. So as a kind of compromise, I thought I would just chat to you guys about them instead of buying them. Book number one is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. So in the past I've been known to say that I hate classics, classics suck, I will never read them, but I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I recently read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier and loved the vibe of that book. I think I gave it 5 stars, like I was obsessed, I loved reading that, and I was on some reading sprints and someone said if you liked Rebecca you would definitely like Jane Eyre. It's got a similar kind of vibe. And the plot does sound a little bit similar in the vibe, so I thought this would be something that I'd really be interested in. So our main character, Jane, was orphaned as a child, and she now faces a new challenge where she's hired by a guy called Edward Rochester, and he hires her to take care of his child, Adele, and she kind of starts to get a little bit drawn to Edward, but there is a terrifying secret inside the gloomy, forbidding Thornfield Hall, and is Edward hiding something from Jane, and will Jane be left heartbroken and exiled once again? So it does sound like that same kind of vibe as Rebecca, and yeah, I want to read more classics now that I know that there's some out there that are bearable to me. And especially if they're written by women as well, I think that makes it a little better. Book number 2, we have A For Aunties by Jessie Sutanto. So this seems just like a fun book. So the basic premise, I think, is that our main character's family has this wedding business. They run weddings, and Jessie accidentally kills her blind date, and then her 4 aunties kind of have to help her pretty much get rid of the body as they try and work at this wedding that is the biggest job for their family. So it just seems like a bit of chaotic fun with 4 aunties and the main character trying to get rid of a body whilst trying to pull off a wedding. So it sounds really fun. I've heard really good stuff about it. This is the first book in the Aunties series, and I know just a couple of days ago from when I was filming this, the sequel just came out. So it sounds really fun. Sounds like fun family banter and a little bit of murder as well. So what a good combination. The next book is Good Omens by Terry Hatchett and Neil Gaiman. I want to read all the Neil Gaiman in the world. I've also watched the TV show adaptation Good Omens, and that was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved that show. It was so good. So I thought may as well read the book itself. How do I explain this plot? So basically Judgment Day is coming. The apocalypse is coming, or the biblical, predictions of the end of the world are going to come true. We have an angel Aziraphale and a demon Crowley, and they have both been living on Earth since the beginning of time and kind of really enjoy the lifestyle on Earth and want to continue living on Earth. They don't really want the apocalypse to happen. So that's kind of the basic plot, and then there's an Antichrist, and no one can seem to find or knows where the Antichrist is to maybe potentially stop the apocalypse from happening. It's a really fun show, and I'm really excited to read the book. So you're going to notice a lot of the books on this list are going to be thrillers. It's a genre that I really want to get into, and it's a genre that I want to learn all about and find and read all of the popular books in this genre. A popular one I know that I really want to read is The Silent Patient. This is by Alex Michaelides. This is about our main character, Alicia. Alicia is a famous painter. She seems to live this perfect life, and she's married to this really popular fashion photographer. One day Alicia comes home and shoots her husband 5 times in the face, and she's refusing to talk about what happened or why it happened. So then we follow this guy called Theo Faber. He is a criminal psychotherapist, and he has waited a long time to work with Alicia, and he's determined to get her to talk, and he really wants to unravel the mystery of what went down and why Alicia killed her husband. So it's a psychological thriller of a woman's act of violence against her husband and of the therapist obsessed with uncovering her motive. So it sounds really intriguing, like from the perspective of like maybe the conversation between her and her therapist, which really intrigues me. It seems like a really cool way to do a thriller, maybe quite a bit of a unique spin on it. So yeah, I'm really excited to get that. So manga is another genre that I'm really starting to try and get into because I really enjoy anime. I would like to get The Promised Neverland. This is a manga that's also been made into an anime. This is basically about this orphanage called Grace House, I think it's called. Yes, Grace Field House. And we follow 3 of the eldest kids there, so Emma, Norman and Ray. Life is seemingly good at this orphanage. They are cared and loved by this person that they called Mum, and she provides for them and loves them. But the 3 oldest kids one day discover a dark truth about the outside world that they are forbidden to see. So I think it's this kind of manga. I've watched a teensy bit of the anime that starts off looking light and happy, and then we start to see a dark turn. So I've heard it's a really popular one that is really creepy and dark anime. So it's one that's been on my list for a while that I've been eyeing off. But it seems to be hard to get my hands on the first volume. I have tried in the past, but I will get my hands on it one day. Speaking of thrillers, I really would like to check out Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I know when it comes to thrillers, this is one of the most popular ones and go-to authors. So Survive the Night is about Charlie, and Charlie is potentially being driven across the country by a serial killer called Josh Baxter. So Josh and Charlie have both left their university campus in the middle of the semester, and they're kind of on the road just chilling, sharing life stories, talking, but both avoiding the story of the serial killer who was at their campus who tied up and killed 3 students. Charlie is starting to notice discrepancies in Josh's story and starts to suspect that he could be the serial killer that was at their campus. So she starts to kind of plan her escape, but she's realizing that Josh might know that she potentially knows that he's a serial killer. So she is afraid that she might be about to become the next victim of Josh. Next book I want to get is the first book in the Great City series, and that is The City We Became. This is a book that I know like nothing about. The blurb, which I'll read to you in a sec, is really vague, but I like that. I like that it's super vague. All that I know is that it's an adult science fiction novel. I also heard that the audiobook for this is fantastic, so I think when I do eventually get it, I'll buy the audiobook, just because as well I have been enjoying audiobooks more recently, so I want to get into them and find good ones. So if you have any great audiobook recommendations, please let me know as well. So let me just read the blurb. 5 New Yorkers must come together in order to defend their city. Every city has a soul. Some are as ancient as myths, and others are as new and destructive as children. New York City, she's got 5. But every city also has a dark side. A rolling ancient evil stirs beneath the earth, threatening to destroy the city and her 5 protectors, unless they can come together and stop it once and for all. So the plot really intrigues me, like even that seems well written to me, so I'm really excited for this one. Next up we have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is a book about a secret society called the Alexandrian Society, and their members are like magical academics, and it's their duty to upkeep the great knowledge from lost civilizations. And if you're a member, you will know great wealth and privilege beyond your wildest dreams. So during the initiation process, they'll be given access to the society's archives and judged on their contribution. So they have to kind of fight for their place. 5 will make it in and 1 will be eliminated, and they kind of have to fight against each other for survival. I've heard that everyone becomes super obsessed with all of the characters in this book, and each one has like a really unique, interesting personality as well. So it's a book that is very high on my priority to be bought list. So the next book I feel like absolutely everyone is talking about at the moment, and that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. Bear with me as I try and explain the plot on this one. I've got Goodreads to help me out. So basically our main character is called Mina, and Mina's homeland has been ravaged by deadly storms for generations, floods that sweep away entire villages. Their villagers believe in this sea god who they thought at one time was their protector, but now he has cursed them. So in order to kind of appease him and stop the floods, every year they throw in a maiden as a kind of a sacrifice to be the sea god's bride to appease him. So they believe that one of these women will be the true bride and will end their suffering. So then many believe that this girl called Shim, the most beautiful girl in the village, will be the legendary true bride. But on the night that she is meant to be sacrificed, Mina's older brother June follows her out to sea, knowing that to interfere with the sacrifice would be a death sentence. Then to save her brother, Mina throws herself into the water as well. She is swept away to the spirit realm, a magical city of lesser gods and mythical beasts. She seeks the sea god only to find him caught in an enchanted sleep. With the help of a mysterious young man named Shin, as well as a motley crew of demons, gods and spirits, Mina sets out to wake the sea god and bring an end to the killer storms once and for all. But she doesn't have much time. A human cannot live long in the land of spirits, and there are those who would do anything to keep the sea god from waking. So the plot sounds like incredible. Apparently it's a fantastic book, and I'm sad that I keep seeing it everywhere because I don't own a copy. Another book I would love to get my hands on is my best friend's Exorcism. This is by Grady Hendrix. I know again that Grady Hendrix is another staple author if you love thrillers or horror, and it's an author that I have been wanting to check out for a while now. So I think the plot of this is that we follow Abby, and Abby has been best friends with someone called Gretchen for since they were little, and they're now entering high school, and Abby's friend Gretchen starts to act a little differently, and she realizes that she is possessed by a demon. So she embarks on a quest with a bunch of unlikely allies to try and save Gretchen, but will friendship be strong enough to defeat the devil? Next up we have Raybearer. This is by Jordan Afreco. This is a young adult fantasy. This is about a girl, and she's always craved the closeness and warmth of having a family. She's been raised by this often absent person called the Lady, and one day the Lady sends her to the global empire to compete against other children to join the Crown Prince's Council of 11, and if you join, you are let into this bond that is said to be deeper than blood, and because she's been craving warmth and love her whole life, the temptation is irresistible to her. The Lady has other ideas though, including a magical wish that she is compelled to obey, kill the Crown Prince once she gains his trust. Next up we have All of Us Are Villains. This is by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. I know this is a really popular book. I don't know the plot, so I'm just going to read it. So every generation at the coming of the Blood Moon, 7 families in the remote city of Ivernath each name a champion to compete in a tournament to the death. The prize is exclusive control over a secret wellspring of high magic, the most powerful resource in the world. Then a tell-all book kind of tells the details to the world about this competition. So 7 champions are thrust into the worldwide spotlight, granting each one of them new information, new means to win, and most importantly, a choice: accept their fate or rewrite their story. But this is a story that must be penned in blood. I don't think I've ever read anything like this. The plot has me so like intrigued. So it sounds like a really good read, plus the cover is cool as well, so that helps. Next up is a book I actually saw in a bookshop one day that I had never heard of. I picked it up and put it back down. I'm so mad that I did, because ever since then I've seen quite a few people put it in their book hauls, and that is Finlay Donovan Is Killing It by Ellie Cosimano. I really struggled with that. So this is a book about a single mum who's living this really stressed out life. She's an author and she has promised her agent a book that hasn't been written yet. One day she's in a cafe and she's just telling her agent about the plot to the new suspense book that she's writing, and someone overhears her and accidentally kind of assumes that she's a contract killer, and our main character incidentally kind of accepts an offer to dispose of a problem husband in order to make ends meet. So she realizes that murder is a little bit harder in real life than writing about it, and gets kind of tangled up in this murder investigation. This sounds like a really fun book, and it really has caught my attention. So the next book sounds so cool, and that is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Again, I'm so sorry, we're just going to summarize the plot of Goodreads. Jade lives in this rural lake town. She is half Indian, an outcast. Her father is abusive, her mother is absent, and the entire town doesn't really want anything to do with her. So her protection comes from her love of horror films. She has an encyclopedic knowledge of horror and absolutely loves it. She loves the stories where the masked killer seeks revenge on a world that wronged them. And then one day blood actually starts to spill in the waters of their town. She pulls us into a dizzy encyclopedic mind of blood and mass murders and predicts exactly how the plot will unfold. Even as Jade drags us into a dark fever dream, a surprising intimate portrait emerges. A portrait of a scared and traumatized little girl beneath the mask. Angry, but also a girl who easily cries, fiercely loves, and desperately wants a home. A girl whose feeling is too big for her body. This book is apparently a homage to horror, revenge, and triumph, and it sounds like it's going to be like amazingly written, and sounds like it's really going to mess with me, so I'm excited. Finally, book number 15 is Malice by John Gwain. Wow, I keep seeing this book everywhere. I'm so excited to read it because everyone's saying it's absolutely amazing and that everyone should read it. Again, I'm so sorry for the final book. We're just going to have to Goodreads it. So this is about a young boy called Corbin. He watches enviously as boys become warriors under King Brennan's rule, learning the act of war. He yearns to wield his sword and spear and protect his king's realm. But that day will come all too soon. When he loses those he loves, he will learn the true price of courage. The Banished Lands has a violent past where armies of men and giants clash shields in battle, the earth running dark with their heart's blood. Although the giants' clans were broken in ages past, their ruined fortresses still scar the land. Giants now stir anew, the very stones weep blood, and there are sightings of giant worms. Those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than ancient wars. Sorrow will darken the world as angels and demons make it their battlefield. Ooh, this sounds really good. Then there will be war to end all wars. Hyde King summons his fellow kings to council, seeking an alliance in this time of need. Some are skeptical, fighting their own border skirmishes against pirates and giants, but prophecy indicates darkness and light will demand two champions, the Black Sun and the Bright Star. They would be wise to seek out both, for if the Black Sun gains ascendancy, mankind's hopes and dreams will fall to dust. Wow, this plot sounds really good, and sounds like it's a really well developed and amazing fantasy kind of world. Yeah, I know that that's a really big plot that I just blurted out to you, but I'm really excited. So there you have it. Those are 5 books that I'm really interested in and really want to buy. All of those plots sound so cool. Let me know in the comments, have you read any of these books? I'd love to know if they are worth spending my money on. And what is on your to-buy list? What are books that you urgently want to get your hands on? Thank you so much for watching this video. My social media links are in the description below, so if you'd love to come and chat with me on other social media, that would be great. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday, so subscribe and you won't miss out on when I post a video. I will see you in whatever I post next. Bye!